Hello, 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 good evening, everybody. Hope we're all doing okay. Welcome. It's certainly been an interesting 24 hours, hasn't it? Hey, Norse Chick, Broken Martian, Cyan Jin, Paul, I'm just going to refer to you as Paul, Mixchew, Dodgy Brummy, welcome, RS Ray, welcome, Jason Chester, get some Jasons in the chat for Jason. Yeah, so... Let's just turn the music off for a second. Tomb Raider Reloaded is a thing. It is a thing that exists, and as expected, it's divided people, and I can kind of understand why. But also at the same time, I want to sort of offer up a different perspective on the whole thing. Because I think a lot of people, although their initial knee-jerk reactions to it being on mobile are understandably negative because of the connotations to do with the mobile market and everything, you're just arriving in time for cartoony Lara Honkers. You're just in time. I think there needs to be some other different perspectives of how this could affect the series long term. So just going to take this over to this for a second here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put the display capture on. Here I am. Hello. This is my PC. Now, what we'll do now is we'll just, I'll just pop this over here so you guys can actually see it a bit better. So no doubt most of you by now have already seen this trailer. I thought I'd just go through this trailer sort of like a little bit of a frame-by-frame dissection of it, just to sort of get what we kind of, get the sort of impressions of what we know about what this game is going to be, and sort of what we think it's going to be, when it eventually gives you a kind of like a gameplay trailer. But let's just have a look. There we go, that should be better. So already, by the way, if you want to know how to scrub like through, like forward and backwards through frames on YouTube, on your desktop, use the comma and the period keys and the full stop keys, just like this. And then you can do this sort of frame by frame scrubbing. Not a lot of people, I don't think, know that you can do that, which is pretty cool. And I've just noticed that my a little bit off kilter. There we go. Sorry. So already we got an interesting image there. We've got the Scion of Atlantis from Tomb Raider 1, but it's not the anniversary version. The anniversary version, interestingly enough, it shows up later. So my kind of prediction for this particular game, it's gonna be like a greatest hits, I feel, of all the different properties from the classic era. But again, complete conjecture. But let's just carry on and see what else we can spot. The art direction's pretty cool. Now, someone said that these spiders are from Tomb Raider 2. I don't know if I can remember any spiders at all from Tomb Raider 2, but I'm sure someone can confirm these spiders from another one of the entries that I've not yet played or might not know about. And then we got this golem, which is very much a new thing. And it reminds me a lot of like the golems that you can encounter in Breath of the Wild a little bit. And there's another game, Risk to something. Oh God, what's the name of it? Risk Terrain? I think they had golems that were pretty similar to this as well. So you got the spike traps from the wall, and of course, the fan favorite enemy, the T-Rex, which I'm very excited about seeing again. It's sort of like, it's why it reinforces to me that I think this particular game, this mobile game, is just going to be just like a remix sort of greatest hits of the classic games. And there, of course, we have the what was it? The sugar, was it Sugar Candy, the Funko Pop? I think it's Rock Candy, because that's the design. Yeah, here we go. So this is the design that everyone is comparing this to. Let's just bring them side to side so we can actually see them. So here we go. So you can kind of see from this particular comparison here, I can see why they're actually making that comparison. She does look kind of toy-like. But I think, I personally think this art style lends itself very well to the series, and given the right kind of, again, given the right context and the right type of game, this could actually be quite popular. And again, of course, someone somewhere is being very vocal about the proportions of this character, which I think is just kind of missing the point entirely from an argument standpoint. Oops, sorry. There, see? This version here isn't the same version. It's still the Skion of Atlantis, but it's a different version. It's the same one that you see in Tomb Raider Anniversaries logo. Skion. Yeah, here we go. So you notice how it's got these particular prongs here, and if we go to that, it's exactly the same. It's just cartoonified. So at least to me, it seems like this particular game is going to be, just going to be an arcadey. They've already said it's an arcadey title, free to play. No doubt there's going to be microtransactions in there to some degree. Even Lara Croft Go apparently had microtransactions. I'm just hoping they're not too invasive or egregious. But it seems like they might be doing kind of like a reimagining of that sort of era of her past by doing like a sort of greatest hits remix of all of like her history, like pre-reboot era classic Lara Croft. But it'd be interesting to see. It's nice that they've actually gone with the same Vendrome fonts that they used in the classics as well, which I've used on a few of my videos for my titles as well, which is quite interesting. I'm very much looking forward to... Here's the thing. With this entire project, I can understand people's skepticism about this. It's a mobile game, and mobile games don't have the best reputation at all, especially after the whole Diablo fiasco. And if you go to, actually, this is the Square Enix thing at the moment. This is the Square Enix page. And I don't know if you can see this. If I zoom in perhaps a little bit so you can see. The like to dislike ratio on this video at the moment is pretty spectacular. I've obviously added a like to the cause because I believe firmly that we need to say to them that this era of Tomb Raider, which fans have been asking for a redo of for fucking ages, people are interested in and they want to see more. I understand why people are a bit pissed because it's a mobile game. And yes, big surprise. You've got comments like, don't you guys have phones? Or is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke like the guy from Diablo and BlizzCon? And like people are making comparisons to the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil, but I don't know. Until we find out if this is just the only thing that they're going to be doing for the 25th anniversary, I don't see the point in wasting energy being so negative about it. There are people on the other side of the fence, on like the Square Enix side, on the Nixxes side, Eidos to a certain degree, on the company side, that really want to see more of this sort of stuff come through. And for them, this is a massive breakthrough. And the more that we can keep championing these types of breakthroughs, the more we're going to see more of this content come through. And as much as it sucks, and as much as it's kind of like, well, yeah, if we're going to keep championing mobile games that are completely riddled with microtransactions up the ass, that's going to send the wrong message. It is a bit of a double-sworded argument, but at the same time, sometimes the lesser of two evils is the way to go. Sometimes it works. And with this, let's just go back. I mean, people can argue that the art style is a bit too, like, bratsy, Mattel-y, and yeah, okay, you might not like the art style. That's fine. That's completely... Art style is a completely subjective thing to enjoy and to say is good. But just the overall tone and the look of this is just... This is something, I think, given the right type of game, and as long as it's not bastardized, which is a very important thing, if this game is crap, then of course I'm not going to start saying, yeah, we should keep championing this. No, I'm going to be one of the first people to say, yeah, it's crap, don't bother playing it. But as long as it's like in the same vein as like Lara Croft Go, which apparently is a fan favorite, I strongly feel that this type of thing we could see almost like a resurgence of the era of Tomb Raider that we want. Maybe it might lead into remasters. Maybe it might lead into a continuation of her finally becoming the Tomb Raider and being this type of character again. We don't know. That's the thing. People are making a lot of assumptions at the moment. And while, yes, you're free to make those types of observations and those types of assumptions are your own opinions and you're entitled to your own opinion, I have always been of the type of mindset that if you're going to make any kind of critique on a new piece of media, you need to know more about it first. You need to let it have a chance to sort of breathe, prove itself, be out in the field, be play tested by people, and then afterwards you can sort of give like a definitive reply, a response to it to say, nah, I'm definitely not going to play that, because we don't know what the game is going to be like, as in gameplay wise. I'm hoping, like I'm sure everyone in here is, that it's not going to be a shallow, like MTX riddled cash grab with no soul or heart behind it. But I have a feeling that this one isn't going to be that bad at all. I don't play mobile games at all, really. I don't play mobile games. I'm mostly put off by mobile games as a concept because of the fact they've got this corporate bullshit behind it most of the time. But I'm willing to give this game a chance in the hopes that this will lead on to something that we can all enjoy on consoles and on PC. Maybe even give the series a bit more of a bit of a renaissance, so to speak. I feel like I've talked on a little bit too much, but I'm just going to see what you guys and girls actually think in the comments here. Arstarker reminds me of the Link's Awakening remake. It does a little bit like the Wind Waker as well. People hated the art style for the Wind Waker, hence why they had the knee-jerk reaction to that with Twilight Princess going the other way, and people thought that was a bad move. Spiders were in Tomb Raider 2, The Temple of Jan. See, I thought it was Tomb Raider 2. It's been a long time since I've played that game, if I'm honest. I couldn't remember the spiders at all. The logo Tomb Raider looks like the classic NA variants. Yes, it does. The old ones. It'd be interesting to see the gameplay and how it works on mobile. Exactly. The gameplay will be the deciding factor, I feel. Completely. Because if it's got shit gameplay where you have to have a certain amount of currency or time for certain actions to complete, and you're not able to play and enjoy the game at your own pace, but you have to wait to have enough currency to build up again to be able to perform certain actions like certain egregious fucking horrible mobile games do, that would kill it. 100% kill it. I can guarantee now, and I will say this with absolute confidence, if they did that, if they did anything remotely like that to this game, this would 100% kill any interest in both the consumer level, the fan base level, and also the company level of pursuing this avenue of Lara Croft again. 100%. Because that means that they'll just say, oh, people aren't interested in this version of Lara Croft, we can just keep going with the one that we made. Further and further. And some people like that, and that's absolutely fine. But I know a lot of people have been wanting something a bit more substantial from the character for a long time. I honestly hope the next main timeline Tomb Raider game actually goes back to the same art style as Legend Anniversary Underworld type of story. Yeah, I've said a couple of times that the Tomb Raider series needs to go back to the villain of the hour, Saturday morning cartoon type of vibe, Indiana Jones, that type of adventuring, rather than having this whole hang-ups with my past and my family, continuing my dad's legacy type thing. It needs to just go out on its own and just do adventuring for the fun of it again, you know? Broken Martian says, Lara Croft Go, I don't think had any microtransactions in it, not one. The Temple Run style Lara Croft game did. Okay, maybe I misread that from somewhere. However, that was an entirely different concept to what this new game, Reloaded game, is hinting at. Well, let's actually have a look at what this game is going to be. Let's go to that one. That one's normally quite a good source. Here we go. Okie dokie. So an official Q&A so far, they've been very tight-lipped about any kind of details. I doubt that you can actually see that's on screen. Let me just zoom in a bit further for you to see. So who's it's been developed by? Emerald City Games is developing Tomb Raider Reloaded. Square Enix London Mobile is the publisher. Let's look up Emerald City Games, because I've not actually done this, and a couple of people have looked them up, and it's been a bit let's see what they've actually done. So they've made a G.I. Joe game. I know that much, but... Well, this isn't a good sign already. With this in the middle here. This isn't a good sign at all. I'm going to be honest. With loot boxes front and center, that's not good. But this is their Twitter account. Yeah, that's not a great first impression for them, if I'm honest. But we'll have to see. Again, we will have to see. I'm expecting there to be microtransactions. I don't think it's something that can be avoided at this stage in the industry. But we shall have to see. Anyway, let's go back to the Q&A. Crystal Dynamics, what is their involvement? They are not directly involved in the development of Tomb Raider Reloaded. They have been working closely with Emerald City and Square Enix to ensure it delivers great Tomb Raider experience. Yeah. And we all know how great the experience of Avengers was, hey? Still is, inverted commas. What kind of gameplay can we expect in Tomb Raider Reloaded? It's an action arcade game for mobile. So they've been very nondescript with that. Very non-specific. I know, action arcade game for mobile. Sarah's just basically saying, what does that even mean? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's so bland of a statement, it's almost transparent. We'll have more information on this gameplay specifics at a later date, which I'm looking forward to. Until I see the pudding, I won't be able to see the proof in it. If that makes sense. What types of mobile devices? Android and iOS. Cool. So that's probably going to mean tablets as well, like iPads as well as iPhones and stuff too. When will it release? It'll do a soft launch in certain territories. The full launch will be 2021. They will have specifics at a later date. And then we got an action render of a PNG file for all the fans to use for their avatars for the foreseeable future. But I really like that art style. I think it suits the character really well. This hyper-deformed art style. And who the fuck cares about her proportions? I think if you're focusing on that particular aspect of Lara Croft, you're kind of missing the point, really, a little bit. Thank you very much, Baby Metal Fan 01. I'm also a Baby Metal fan, actually. I wish I could have seen them in concert when they were over in this country. I honestly think the reception wouldn't have been as negative if they just first announced a mainline Tomb Raider game and then announced this. Yeah, they're kind of on the back foot with this. If they are planning to release a mainline or announce a mainline Tomb Raider game for the 25th anniversary next year. But again, we will have to see. They're kind of almost, in a sense, sending this particular project out as a kind of trial by fire. I don't want to say out to die. I think it's just going to be a sort of instance where they're just trialing the reaction to this from people. Thank you very much for the follow there, Gardener Dado. And then going from that response, they're then going to continue, and that's going to shape what the next mainline Tomb Raider game is going to be, which I think is so important that we need to stay as positive as we can about this, but obviously hold them accountable to any bullshit that they try and pull. 100%. Oliver Fairmont there with why are her boobs so tiny? It's just the art style. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, they are smaller than they have been before, but honestly... Yeah, Sarah's just basically yelled out, will people stop nitpicking about her tits? It's just the art style. It's absolutely fine. I mean, her head's like bigger than... if not as big as her torso. So I don't think that's going to kind of like prove anything, really. She's not realistically proportioned in this depiction. So I think it just lends itself to the whole kind of design. In 2.4, they're like 3 times bigger, lol. Yeah. I already made that point in my video about that. And in Legend as well. Legend, they're fucking huge in Legend. Not to be crude. Can be good to see the series, of course. I mean, Fire Emblem Heroes certainly is my cup of tea, and I despise the overabundance of fan service in it, but it did good for the rest of the franchise overall. Norsk Chick, hey, welcome. I love this art style, but I was hoping to see a game in this art style eventually. Yes, well, we might do. This might be the calm before the storm, so to speak. We'll have to see. Agree with your view, Steve. I support any new Tomb Raider game as long as it's too early to be judgmental. Yes, I agree with you as well, Dodgy Brummy. You ain't too dodgy in my book. Welcome second bout of insanity as well. Jason Chester says, I'm glad the community seemed to be really excited about it. I'm just feeling pretty meh about it at the moment. And I really don't get excited about Tomb Raider news anymore. I'm not going to go and tell anyone that my opinion is better than theirs. though try to squash others' excitement, but I just really don't feel it right now. And that is honestly, for one of the better takes out there at the moment, that one is one that I will probably champion above the rest. Like, you're welcome, more than entitled to feel a bit meh, to get really excited at first with this trailer, and then see the words mobile coming to mobile, and then feel deflated. I completely get that sentiment. I felt the same to a degree. I'm just more excited about the prospect of what this potentially could, when I'm holding a screwdriver, potentially could mean for the franchise going forward. But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see.